Hi, my name is Marnie Winters. Thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel. The purpose of my channel is to give college and career information to video viewers. Today we'll be joined by my assistant, Cindy Lou, who is sitting directly behind my head. Today's topic for the video will be how to effectively prepare and study and take a test. A lot of the classes that you get into will have tests in them. And the test grades can account for a major part of your grade, so it'll be really important that you prepare well ahead of time and are ready to go for the test. You'll want to put your best foot forward because it'll impact your final grade, and you'll want to make sure that you're doing as well as you can on the test to be able to get the best grade possible. So today I'm going to be covering tips and strategies that will help make your life easier when it comes to getting ready and taking the test. First, I'm going to cover just some general basic tips and strategies, and then dive really hardcore into how to effectively study and get ready and prepare. The first of all the basic strategies is to make sure that you get a really good night's sleep the night before the test. Most average adults require about 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Some require a little less, some require more. You've probably figured out by now how many hours it is that you need to get to be able to function at your best during the day. So make sure that you give yourself enough time at night to get the sleep that you need. If you stay up all night studying for a test or doing other things and you just don't sleep enough, it could impact you negatively on the test. You may not understand what the question is asking you to do, or understand what answer it's looking for, or understand what it's asking you to do to solve a problem. So make sure that you get enough sleep so that you can think clearly, because it will help you understand the questions and help you be able to provide the right answer on the test. Before you go into the test, also make sure that you eat something. Now, you don't want to eat so much that you end up sending yourself into a food coma. You don't want to go in totally full and stuffed to the gill and like you need to lay down and take a nap, but you don't want to go into it starving either. You don't want to go into it having not eaten. If your stomach starts growling, you're going to end up distracting yourself. You'll be worried that your growling stomach is distracting other people sitting around you. And it'll be really hard to focus on the test if all you can think about is what you're going to have for lunch and how soon you're going to be able to get it. So make sure that you eat something, eat light, eat enough that it's going to allow you to be able to think clearly during the test. If your instructor permits it and you're allowed to, go in with a drink. Take a glass of water with you or a bottle of water, take a cup of coffee or a soda or a bottle of iced tea or juice or whatever it is that you like to drink. If you have something beside you to drink, that may help calm you down a little bit. And some people are just big drinkers anyway. They constantly like to have something to drink. It's a comfort thing. So if you like to have something to drink with you a lot and your teacher permits it, take a drink, it will help make you feel better and it can have a calming effect on you too. Make sure that you get up early in the morning and do a last minute review. You'll always find concepts that are going to be a challenge for you to remember, or there may be some areas that give you a little difficulty. If you are taking a math test, you may want to go over some formulas or equations at the last minute, or some concepts, or whatever it is that's presented you with the biggest challenge. Go back through the morning of the test and review those. If it's the last thing that you review, then it's going to be fresh on your mind when you go in to take the test. When you actually get in to take the test, the first thing that you want to do is make sure you write your name on the test. That's actually something I forgot to do once and turned it in without my name on it, and boy did that cause all kind of problems to get that fixed. Don't forget to put your name on the test. It's very important. You don't want to end up having a teacher think that you didn't take the test and give you a 0 for it. I eventually did get mine cleared up, but boy, it took me a lot of work to get that fixed. So you don't want to end up having those kind of problems. You don't end up risking having to take a 0. I thought I would end up having to take a 0 for my forgetfulness for that. Boy, you can better believe I never forgot to do that again either. but make sure you get your name down on the test. The next thing then that you want to do is call a brain dump. And that's where if that challenging information that you reviewed at the last minute, while it is still fresh in your head, turn your test over and write it down on the back of the test. So if you've got any math formulas that you're trying to remember, if your teacher does not let you go in with like a note card with the equations written down on it, and you have formulas you need to remember, write the formulas down on the back of the paper while you still remember what those are, so that you don't forget it by the time that you get to those problems. And that is going to be especially helpful if you've got a lot of formulas that you need to remember. Sometimes you may take a test and you've got 10 or 12 formulas that you need to remember, and you can get confused partway through a test. So make sure that you get everything written down on the back, so that way you've got that to refer to as you're taking the test. It'll help you solve the problems and help you make sure that you are using the right equations. Now the next thing that you'll want to do is create a study guide, and you'll start creating this early on. And what a study guide is that is a document that you'll be creating with all the information on it that is going to be covered on the test. So this way you've got everything right in front of you, and you don't have to keep going back and looking things up over and over and over again. And this is going to be especially important and helpful if you've got a test that is covering a lot of information. What you'll do is take some loose leaf paper and a writing utensil, either a pen or a pencil, and you'll make yourself notes on everything that's going to be covered on the test. It'll cover new vocabulary words, terminology words with their definitions. It will include math formulas. It will include lists of information, important events, dates, theories, whatever information is going to be covered on that test, put it down in the document. That way you've got everything in one place, and you've got a study guide with the information on it that you need to be able to study for that test. Now, to be successful with this, you'll actually be creating two guides. One is called the pre-study guide, and then you'll have the final study guide. So basically it's study guide 1 and study guide 2. And the study guide 1 you'll be creating as soon as you start encountering that new information that'll be on a test. The second study guide is going to be the one that you create after a teacher does a review in class and lets you know exactly what information is going to be covered on the test. So now if the instructor never does a review in class, some won't, a lot of them will, but some teachers will not give you a review. If a teacher does not give you a review, you will not be doing that second study guide. You'll just be doing the one. And in the event the teacher does give the review, you will create that test study guide number 2, the final study guide. But a lot of that information you'll already have gotten, and it will be listed on the first study guide that you've made. So it's not going to be real time consuming for you to do study guide number 2. And the reason why you want to do study guide number 1 is so that you can start studying for a test as soon as possible. You do not want to wait until the last minute to start studying for a test. It is a really, really bad idea. Don't do it. Start studying as soon as you can. The second study guide, the reason that you want to do that is because that's what's going to be based off of what the teacher tells you is on the test. You want to make sure that you have everything on the study guide that the teacher tells you you need to know. And it's possible that on the first study guide that you've created, that there is some information that is not on that study guide that will be on the test. It's going to be very, very important for you to create that final study guide so you can make sure you are studying absolutely everything that's going to be on the test. That's how you put your best foot forward, to listen to your instructor and study everything that they're telling you you need to know for the test. And also with the first study guide, you may have some things written down there that you don't need to know for the test. The first study guide really is kind of a guessing game. Well, even though that important information will be important and you want to know it, if it's not on the test, when it comes to actually studying for the test, do not spend time studying information that you don't need to know specifically for that test. Your time is going to be better utilized studying exactly what the instructor tells you is on that test. So that you want to leave off the information that you don't need. You want to add the information that you do need. And that's going to be the difference between the two study guides and the importance of having that final study guide. So now how do you create that study guide? That's a really good question. How do you know what to put on it? And like I said a few moments ago, initially it's going to be a little bit of a guessing game. You're going to need to guess what you need to put there. But you can get that information from a variety of sources. The first one being the readings that you're assigned in class. A lot of classes that you get into are going to have textbooks, and you'll have assigned readings every class. So when you go through and you're doing your assigned readings, the first thing that you want to do is go through and read your assigned chapters or your assigned pages. And the first time around, just read. Read the information, soak it in, remember it, comprehend it, understand it, pay attention to what you're reading. Then go through and read it a second time. And that second time, take notes on what you're reading. Take notes on what the book is emphasizing. Write down new vocabulary words and their definitions. Write down lists of information. Write down important people, important events, important dates. Whatever the book is stressing that seems important, write it down. That's information that you'll likely need to know. The second place to get information from to put on your pre-study guide is from class notes. And I have released already a video on effective note-taking, so I hope you've had a chance to watch that. If not, plan to go back and watch it, because there's some really good strategies there for taking good notes in class. Incorporate your notes into your study guide. Write that information down. Don't get repetitive with any information that you've already written down that was in your book. You don't need to have the same information listed there twice. But write down any information that's in your notes that you have not already written down from the readings that you've done. So make sure that that information is there too. Take any class handouts and incorporate that information into the study guide. And any notes that you've made in the margins, anything that you've highlighted, anything that was stressed on the class handouts, incorporate that information too. Those are the best sources to get the information from to create your study guide. Now, once you get that done, you'll want to create flashcards. And how you do that is you take 3x5 index cards and use both sides of those. You'll be able to self-quiz yourself later. But with a definition, for example, you can write a vocabulary word on one side, a definition on the other side, and then use them like flashcards to quiz yourself. And the 3x5 cards will fit easily into your backpack, into a purse, a bag, a pocket, so you can take them with you to quiz yourself during moments when you have some extra time. When you get the pre-study guide done, and even the final study guide, as well as your flashcards, you can not only use those to quiz yourself and to test yourself, but also you can give all of those to other people and have other people quiz you. It's one thing for you to go through and read all the information that you've written down. You're engaging a part of your brain when you're reading, but you're engaging a different part of your brain if you actually give that information to somebody else, to family or a friend, and have them ask you questions on that information, and then you have to vocalize the answer back to them. You're engaging a totally different part of your brain, so it's going to make it a lot easier for you to recall answers and to remember everything and do well on a test, because you're going to be drawing from more than one part of your brain to be able to get that answer. You'll want to, the last strategy I have for you is you'll want to write information down over and over and over again if it's an area that's a challenge for you to remember. So if you've got 2 or 3 vocabulary words that just, no matter how hard you try for the life of you, you can't remember the definitions for the vocabulary words, write it down over and over and over again. Write it down 100 times if you have to. This is engaging a third part of your brain, and you're going to remember it. Eventually, you're going to get tired of looking back and forth to find the answers, to write it down, and your brain's going to start remembering longer and longer parts of the definition until suddenly you've got the whole thing committed to memory and you don't need to look back and forth at all. So that is the last trick to remembering the information. These tactics and these strategies all together is going to be what helps you put your best foot forward and do it well on a test. And make sure that you start studying as soon as possible. Don't wait until the last minute. Definitely don't wait until the day before. But start studying as early as you can. Start preparing a week or two or even 3 weeks in advance if you've got that long in between tests, because this way you can study in smaller chunks and it's going to help you remember the information better. Very few people can cram effectively and still retain that information later, and barely even retain it for the duration of the test sometimes. If you start studying very early and give yourself as much lead time as possible and study for even a short amount of time every single day leading up to the test, it's going to help improve the odds that you do really well on the test. So good luck with those tests. I hope this video has been useful for you. Good luck taking your test. Follow these strategies. I think you'll find that it will definitely help make your test taking a lot easier. Thanks very much for tuning into my video.